First up, we got Chris Rock. Unless you are living under a rock, you know that Will Smith showed a completely different side of himself to the world at last night's Oscars. While comedian Chris Rock was speaking to the crowd and taking some digs at all the celebrities in the audience, Rock decided to take a jab at Jada Pinkett Smith, and I'm very sure he regrets it right now. Chris said, quote, "Jada, love you, G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it," referencing her almost bald head. Because in the movie G.I. Jane, the lead actress Demi Moore has shaved her head. Jada has been open about her struggle with alopecia, and she was likely forced to wear her hair this way because she's not able to grow hair completely. Immediately after this joke, Will Smith decided to get up, interrupt the live broadcast, and slap Chris Rock right in the face for millions to see. Chris looked stunned and was not sure exactly how to respond. Will walked back to his seat, then yelled, quote, "Shut your mouth, keep my wife's name out of your effing mouth," twice. After this slap, Chris Rock looked completely stunned, having no idea what to do or say. It looked like he was about to clap back and say another harsh joke about Will or his family, but Rock took the high road and decided to stay calm. The internet was set ablaze by this slap, with many not even sure if it was real or just staged for publicity. But considering what we've seen in the aftermath, it was 100% real. Although many pointed out that Will actually laughed at the joke moments before deciding to get up and slap Chris Rock. Many fans of Smith's have tried to defend his actions, but the overall consensus is that it's never okay to put hands on someone or work out issues with violence, which I completely agree with. Also, we have no idea if Chris Rock even knew that Jada Pinkett Smith had alopecia. It could have just been a big misunderstanding. Next up, William Hendricks. After Will Smith slapped Chris Rock on stage, another one of his attacks was resurfaced. Because this was not the first time that Will lost his temper, and his nice guy persona was called into question. In 1989, Smith spent a night in jail after he hurt a man named William Hendricks so badly that Hendricks almost lost his sight. Smith even spent a night in jail because of this incident and has a mugshot because of it. Not sure exactly why it happened, but Hendricks was a producer who we can assume worked with Smith. Even more coincidental, this incident happened days after Will won his first Grammy. I guess he likes to get into altercations around award season. The charges were later dropped against Will. Will Smith was 20 years old at the time, and after getting in a verbal argument with his producer, he decided to make things physical. As per the police report, Smith asked his bodyguard, Charles Alston, to quote, "attack William Hendricks," who needed 6 stitches after he fractured his left eye orbit during the altercation. Next up, August Alsina. After the smack heard around the world, old reports that Jada had cheated on Will in the past resurfaced. The pair have spoken about how they are in an open marriage, so we're not sure if it was really cheating or not, but Jada admitted she was in an entanglement with rapper August Alsina during a break with her husband. When Will and Jada talked about it on Red Table Talk, Will looked visibly distressed, and the general consensus is that Will wants a monogamous relationship, but Jada wants to be open and see other people. In 2020, August exposed the secret that he'd had a long-time affair with Jada while she was married to Smith. Initially, the Smiths denied this, but later admitted that it started when the pair split up briefly. Alsina had been introduced to Jada by her son Jaden at a London music festival in 2015. Insiders stated that August became like a member of their family, even going on vacations with them and staying in their mansion. August is 21 years younger than Jada, and he claimed that Smith actually gave his blessing to have an affair with his wife, an allegation that Jada then denied. Will also reported that he had affairs with other women during this time. At one point, he was rumored to have slept with co-star Margot Robbie. Many believe Will's insane reaction to the joke is proof that he is in a toxic relationship with his wife, because he completely embarrassed himself on most likely the biggest night of his life, all because of a bad joke. Many also claim that Will would have rather smacked August, but instead Chris Rock got the brunt of his anger. Vitaly Seduk. Little known fact is that this is not the first time that Will Smith has smacked a man in public at an award show event. Vitaly Seduk interviewed Will on a red carpet almost a decade ago, and after they had a negative interaction, Will smacked him in the face as well. While being interviewed, the pair hugged when Seduk went to kiss Will on the cheek. Will Smith freaked out, then backhanded him on the face. Although many felt this move was justified at the time, it shows that Smith's first reaction in a negative situation is violence. The incident took place at the Moscow opening of Men in Black 3 in May of 2012 while Seduk was working for a Ukrainian television station. After the incident with Chris Rock, Seduk stated, quote, "I just immediately recollected the slapping incident in Moscow. I think the joke was inappropriate when it comes to someone's health, but Will's reaction is unnecessary and sends the wrong message to comedians being hit for a joke." Adding, quote, "I don't want to call Will Smith uncontrollable. He has a violent temper. Yes, but I'm sure he realizes what he's doing." The reporter acknowledged that it was a bad joke, and he understands that Will was protecting his family. However, it shows that violence is always Will's first instinct. Scientology. After the Chris Rock incident, some started connecting the dots between the bizarre slap and Scientology. This is because the Smiths have been tied to Scientology in the past, and physical punishment is a popular teaching in the church. Apparently, it's a common teaching in Scientology to use slaps and other forms of physical force to show other Scientologists that they've done something wrong. After the slap, one user tweeted, quote, "There's a Scientology course, I guess you'd call it, that involves involves slapping/physically humiliating fellow Scientologists in a group setting as a means of exerting superiority. It's remarkably common within the cult. The user even shared that Tom Cruise is known to use similar styles of punishment, but instead of hitting, he uses shouting to intimidate movie crews. This makes a ton of sense after what we saw happen on the set of one of Cruise's movies when he felt that COVID protocols were not taken seriously by his staff. Leaked audio heard him screaming at the top of his lungs at his staff, clearly sending a strong message. The Smiths have spent many years battling off accusations that they are involved in Scientology. The couple was apparently introduced to the church in 2004 by Tom Cruise, and they got so involved that the Smith family spent almost $1 million in 2008 to set up a school for the church. The Smiths said they designed the curriculum for the school, but insiders claimed it was based on Scientology. Both Jaden and Willow attended, but the school closed 6 years later when most of the parents removed their children. Tony Ortega, an expert on Scientology, said that the Smiths left Scientology in 2015 and that Will at least only ever dabbled in it. And finally, Will Smith himself. Will exposed himself in his 2021 memoir where he revealed his struggles with anger in the past and how he had thought about taking someone's life in the past. In this memoir, he revealed dark secrets from his past, like that his father used to hit his mother, and when he was younger he was ashamed that he never stepped in to stop him. Apparently many years later his father had cancer and was declining rapidly. He was in a wheelchair at the time and was not able to care for himself, so Will thought about taking his father's life to avenge all the horrible things that he did to his mother. Thankfully, Will did not go through with it and took the high road with his father. Will seemed to reference this in his Oscar speech where he said that a higher power called on him, quote, to love people and to protect people and to be a river to my people. First up, August Alsina. Without August Alsina coming forward, we would have no idea about his affair or entanglement with Jada Pinkett Smith. Will and Jada have been married for 20 years, but it seems that they've been anything but conventional, and the pair have revealed that they have an open marriage. Alsina spilled the beans on his relationship with Jada while on Angela Yee's radio show. When speaking about Jada, he said, quote, I totally gave myself to that relationship for years of my life and I truly, really deeply love her. Alsina even claimed that Will gave the couple his blessing to be together, although Jada denies this. Jada admitted to having an affair with August, but downplayed it as an entanglement. During the Red Table Talk segment where they spoke of the affair, Will looked visibly angry about the situation and pushed Jada to admit she did have a relationship with August. After admitting to cheating, Jada didn't really apologize or seem remorseful. She instead just deflected, saying, quote, I was in a lot of pain, I was very broken, saying she only wanted to help August but it turned into a relationship. Jada said that this entanglement with August happened while she and Will were on a break and their marriage was really struggling. After Jada called their relationship an entanglement, Alsina told Vulture, quote, if you look up the definition of an entanglement, it's a complex and difficult relationship. It was exactly that. I think it's just the language that probably stuck out to people. Adding, quote, but I definitely have to agree with it being an entanglement, it definitely was something complicated, a complicated dynamic. Even though it doesn't seem like Jada is ashamed of anything that she did, it is strange that she tried to deny it, then downplayed it when she could not brush it off anymore. She's also been accused of using her husband's pain for clicks on her Facebook show, but we'll get more into that later. Next up, Will Smith. Since Jada started being so open about her life on her Facebook show, Red Table Talk, she has consistently embarrassed her husband, Will Smith. Most notably was that episode where they spoke about their marriage and the affair that Jada had with August. In that episode, Will admitted to his wife, quote, the fact that I am talking to you is a miracle, clearly showcasing the tension in their marriage. And then Will went viral after that interview, and a meme called the, quote, sad Will meme spread quickly online. Will brushed off the commentary from that episode, saying he was not sad in that interview, rather he had a long day and was just very tired. He told GQ about the meme, quote, I'm not sad, I'm effing exhausted. It seems that Will puts his relationship on the line for Jada and their marriage whenever asked, while she doesn't do the same. The most clear-cut case of this was his Oscar slap. Maybe he knew that if he didn't defend his wife in that moment, that would put another strain on their relationship. Will has also admitted that they're only in an open relationship because of Jada. Will has revealed their open marriage was Jada's idea since she, quote, has never believed in conventional marriage and had family members that had unconventional relationships. Jada has even shared private information regarding their intimate moments. When Jada had Gwyneth Paltrow on the Red Table Talk, Jada revealed that her intimate relationship with Will was struggling, and that it had been hard for them to keep the spark alive. Jada said, quote, the accountability part really hit for me because I think you expect your partner to know what you need, especially when it comes to Fans quickly came to Will's defense against her, calling out Jada for speaking so poorly of her husband. One person even tweeted a meme of Jada asking herself, quote, I wonder how I can embarrass this man this month. Next up, Gabrielle Union. One of Jada's most notable feuds is with fellow actress Gabrielle Union. Neither woman could remember why they feuded in the first place, and Union recalled always feeling strange about the way Jada treated her. Jada decided to clear things up with Union on none other than her show Red Table Talk. Jada said on the show, quote, "She and I did not talk for 17 years and we could not remember why. There was just tension between us every time we would see each other. There was some moment that we had that it just left a bad taste in both of our mouths. When we got on the phone to try and figure out what it was, we could not figure it out." In 2018, Jada had Union on the show, where they finally put the beef to rest for good. The pair talked about their strange feud and how there was always tension between them, but neither had any reason to not be friendly. Smith said, quote, "It felt so good to even just go, hey, I'm sorry that I didn't even take the time to talk to you. And then I had to just apologize and just think to myself, damn Jada, that was some petty stuff." Union later told Today that she was not sure why Jada did not like her. She felt it was the media and other people that pitted them against one another, but thankfully they are on better terms now. Her kids. Jada and Will share 2 kids together, Jaden and Willow Smith. But there have been a lot of people who've doubted their parenting skills, including Child Protective Services. CPS showed up at their home to investigate after a picture showed 13-year-old Willow laying in bed with family friend Moises Arias, who was 20 at the time. While a source told Radar that the case was, quote, "being taken very seriously by the department," Jada told reporters, quote, "There was nothing indecent about that picture or that situation." Will and Jada's parenting style is pretty lax. Will admitted in the past the couple, quote, "do not punish when it comes to their kids." The couple says they would rather give them as much control over their lives as possible. Adding, quote, "The way that we deal with our kids is that they are responsible for their lives. Our concept is, as young as possible, give them as much control over their lives as possible. And on the concept of punishment, our experience is that has a little too much of a negative quality." Jaden is also a fan of the ways parents discipline, telling Metro that it works pretty well. Although most kids would jump at the chance to have their parents stop nagging them. However, there might be times when it's appropriate to put limits on kids, as they might not understand the consequences of what's happening at that time. One example of this could be Jaden's past friendship with actress Zoe Kravitz. Zoe is 10 years older than Jaden, and Zoe admitted to hanging out with Jaden alone when he was just 14 years old. Although nothing inappropriate happened between them, other parents might want to limit that sort of interaction. Cherie Zampino. Cherie Zampino was married to Will Smith before he and Jada got married. The shady part is that Will and Jada started dating before he and Cherie were officially divorced. Jada's mother, Adrienne Banfield Jones, dished on Access, quote, "I think initially when Will first called you, I think he was still married or he was just separated, and I was like, he's not available to you." Jada added that Will was the div, and the Orst didn't happen yet. But Jada later admitted that when she learned things were not finalized, she should have backed off. To make matters worse, Jada has claimed on multiple occasions that she never even wanted to marry Will. She only decided to go forward with it because she got pregnant. Her mother and Will thought that starting a family was the best idea, and Jada reluctantly agreed. Later, the couple agreed to an open marriage. And finally, Jada herself. So I think we all know what happened at the 2022 Oscars between Will Smith and Chris Rock, but I'll give you guys a quick refresher. While Rock was on stage to present an award, he made a joke about G.I. Jane directed at Jada Pinkett Smith because she had a bald head at the event. Initially, Will Smith laughed at the joke, but after seeing that his wife did not approve, he got up on the stage, interrupted Chris and the show, and slapped him in the face. Everyone was shocked, but later many came to Will's defense because Jada had been open about her struggles with alopecia. But a few days after the event, many were calling Jada a hypocrite. TikToks of hers that she made days before the show resurfaced, clapping back at those that made fun of her short hair. In one clip she said, quote, "She doesn't give 2 craps about what people say about her bald head." But clearly that's not true, or she would have been able to take the joke. In the rest of the video, she talks about how her hairstyling for so many years is part of the reason she developed alopecia. Jada shared that she was pressured to present her hair throughout her decades on the big screen and magazine covers. The treatments are used to give her straight hair, but they also caused her hair loss. That's not the only time her behavior has been a bit shady. The actress revealed that she can actually be pretty rude, specifically to people she loves the most. On an episode of her show Red Table Talk, she revealed that she's done so many horrible things to people she loves because of her ego, adding, quote, "Once my ego kicks in, we are in trouble. That Jada baby, she ain't cute, she's a vicious one, and she's mean." She also admitted that she got confrontational towards some of her husband's admirers, revealing, quote, "There was only like 1 or 2 times where I might have gotten a little hostile when I felt people stepped over a boundary that they were disrespectful. Now we got an issue." She did know that she is doing her best to improve these behaviors, but obviously we would hope that she would be nice to people all of the time.
Seems like everyone is talking about Jada Pinkett Smith these days, and despite not being the one who slapped Chris Rock at this year's Academy Awards, she is at the center of a heated debate about the moment. It seems to reveal a much larger group of people who vehemently dislike Jada Pinkett Smith. So today we'll discuss the celebrities who hate Jada Pinkett Smith. Alright, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Before we get into this video, I genuinely struggled with finding 10 or so celebrities who are outspoken about their hate for Jada. I'm sure there are tons of celebs who disagree with her parenting style or anything goes attitude. To publicly declare you don't like another celebrity is a whole other deal. So basically, if some of these are a stretch, don't come for me. Or do, whatever. Kris Jenner. Believe it or not, the Kardashian clan used to be super close to the Smith family, particularly because Kris's kids got along super well with Jada and Will's kids. In fact, Kendall and Jaden are still super close, but we never see the adults hanging out anymore. It's very likely that their friendship didn't survive the whole famous Khloe Kardashian, Tristan Thompson, Jordan Woods love triangle in 2019. After Jordan was exposed for making out with Khloe's ex Tristan, Jada decided to have Jordan on her talk show, Red Table Talk, to reveal her side of the story. The interview featured a ton of sympathy for Jordan as she said her piece about what went down. Jada and Will have known Jordan since she was born because her father worked on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Apparently, after the allegations came to light, Jordan came to Jada asking for help. Quote, "I just wanted her to have a platform to tell her story. That's it. She's a young, beautiful woman inside and out, and me having been a young girl, we sometimes get into situations that we don't necessarily know how to handle." It's likely that all this sympathy towards Jordan led the Kardashian matriarch to cut ties with Jada, as they were never seen getting close after the incident. Promptly after the interview, the Jenners and the Kardashians all unfollowed Jada and Will on Instagram and vice versa. That being said, they still let their kids hang out as Jaden was spotted at Kendall's infamous controversial 2020 birthday bash. Next up is Olivia Jade. While there's no overt animosity between Jada and Olivia Jade, there was definitely some very public discussion of having her on the Red Table Talk show. After the college admissions scandal that put Olivia Jade's mother, Lori Loughlin, in jail for attempting to cheat her daughter's way into college, Olivia Jade attempted to go onto Red Table Talk to set records straight. She went onto the talk show in 2020, and Jada's co-host, her own mother, was extremely public about her distaste for Olivia's appearance. Jada's mom stated, quote, "I fought it tooth and nail. I just found it really ironic that she chose 3 black women to reach out to for her redemption story. I feel like here we are, a white woman coming to a black woman for support when we don't get the same from them. It's bothersome to me on so many levels. Her being here is the epitome of white privilege to me." And honestly, it's hard not to see her point. The whole time Olivia Jade was on the show, she just kept talking about, "Oh, poor me. I didn't realize how privileged I am, blah blah blah." And Jada's mom let her have it. She told Olivia straight to her face, quote, "There is so much violent dehumanization that the black community has to go through on a daily basis, right? There's so much devastation, particularly this year, 2020, and everything being brought to the table. There is so much inequality and inequity that when you come to the table with something like this, it's like, child, please. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted with everything we have to deal with as a community, and I just don't have the energy to put into the fact that you lost your endorsements and you're not in school right now." Whoa, I can't even imagine that going over super well on the friendship mark, especially considering this public blasting was broadcasted all over. Next up is Tom Segura. While this may be more towards Will Smith, Tom Segura has held absolutely nothing back when torching the Smith family online for the Oscars slap incident. Obviously, a lot of celebrities are ticked off at Will Smith right now, but Tom definitely brought his distaste for Jada into this rant. In a series of tweets, he said, quote, "Let me tell you this, man. The idea that you're entitled thinks because your feelings are hurt, you get to one of the all-time greats because you feel, and then the cowards, the spineless cowards that are in Hollywood and comedy. We have all the lists of the guys. It's insane. It's like a gross exaggeration. You see it all the time. I mean, you see entitlement everywhere, and that was on full display for the world to see. I have zero respect for that, and I feel like more people need to come out and say it. It's unacceptable. Damn. Tom, tell us how you really feel." That being said, it's unclear if the in question is Will or Jada. It could be either or both in this situation. Either way, I doubt Tom will be invited to any Smith family dinners in the near future. Next up is August Alsina. While I think maybe this one is a bit of a stretch because it's hard to hate someone who's actively keeping you relevant, I do think that August Alsina can't be happy with how his name has been dragged through the mud with this weird open marriage thing that he was involved with. He claimed to have dedicated years of his life to Jada after they had initially been introduced when Jaden brought him home as a friend. Although the two had their affair while Jada and Will were separated, it didn't stop the actor from writing an entire album called Entanglements about her. It has also just been announced that he's going to write a memoir about his time with Jada, which I am like 99% sure is to A, keep him relevant, and B, to drag Will and Jada's name through the ringer. Next up is Sheree Zampino. Sheree Zampino is the ex-wife of Will Smith, who he had one son with named Trey. Although this feud is largely over, Jada openly admitted to really disliking her husband's ex-wife, and the feeling was very mutual. When they began their relationship, Jada and Sheree hated each other. They had a lot of issues with their blended family, which basically meant them all co-parenting the kids that they all had with Will. Zampino recalls a moment when she had to speak to Will about their son Trey, but Jada picked up the phone. Quote, "You picked up the phone and I wasn't really respectful. You basically let me know, I don't really appreciate your tone, and I was like, it doesn't matter. And you hung up on me. I called back and I happened to say, bitch, you're living in the house that I picked out." The two then shared a laugh with one another, so I guess this one doesn't really count because they've definitely made amends with one another. Despite having an extremely rocky relationship to begin with, they seem to get over it for the sake of Will Smith and their kids. Okay, this next one is just for laughs, but Will Smith. I mean, God, they must have had an extremely hard time within their marriage because Jada, for better or for worse, constantly lays it out on the table. She airs her dirty laundry with Will genuinely constantly, and a lot of fans think that the Men in Black actor is so stricken with Jada that he won't see just how inappropriate her behavior is. For example, always on her talk show, Jada insinuated that Will doesn't know how to please her in bed when she was discussing intimacy with Gwyneth Paltrow. Also openly admitted to cheating on Will, and she had an extremely intimate relationship with Tupac Shakur despite her claiming never to have dated him. I can't imagine all that going over super well, especially when we, as the ever-watchful public, know all of these things. I think it would be a much easier pill to swallow if the entire internet weren't calling Will a but here we are. And now that the Oscars slap thing happened because Will was defending Jada's hair loss, it really does feel like a house that's so full of pretension and privilege that I think people have just kind of largely given up on the couple. Anyways, listen, I know it was so tough finding celebrities who openly hate Jada. Not that she's a particularly good person, but like, why even have the public beef? I don't know if you guys heard about this crazy thing that was in the news a few weeks ago, but at the Oscars, Chris Rock got slapped by Will Smith. Crazy that nobody's talking about this. Anyways, because of it, a whole bunch of people are mad at him and he's basically been ostracized from Hollywood. So here are 10 celebrities who will never work with Will Smith again. Coming in at number 10 on our list is Mia Farrow. Mia Farrow is an actress who was extremely outspoken about her reaction to the ill-fated Oscars night. After it happened, she took to Twitter to post, quote, "It was just a joke. Jokes are what Chris Rock does. Always has been edgy. This was a mild joke for him, and I love G.I. Jane. What I saw was one of Hollywood's most powerful movie stars stalking onto a stage to strike a comedian for an unfortunate joke about his gorgeous wife's shaved head. Anyone who is okay with that has probably never been hit by a powerful man. As we advise our kids, use your words." A lot of people in the comments to her post were duking it out, with some people equating alopecia to cancer, and others saying that Will Smith should be jailed for slapping Chris. My favorite reply was someone linking another tweet saying, quote, "It's actually not funny at all. Will Smith could have killed him with that slap. What if his hand had been full of bees and Chris Rock was allergic to bees and one of the bees stung Chris and nobody had an EpiPen? Not funny now, is it?" Next up is Howard Stern, who had a whole show planned before he decided to scrap it all and focus on the Oscars incident instead. Quote, "Well, I had a whole show planned, but I gotta throw that out because I want to vent about this Oscars thing that occurred." The blunt reporter certainly held nothing back and did in fact vent quite readily about the whole situation. Quote, "This is a sign of great mental illness when you can't control your impulse. Not only that, it was hardly an insulting joke. It wasn't even a good joke." It may be safe to say that Howard Stern wasn't too fond of Will Smith after the headline made the incident. He even compared Will to former US President Donald Trump. He also criticized the Academy's handling of the situation, including the lack of security taking action. While there have been mixed reports on whether or not Will Smith was asked to leave the ceremony following following the slap, the star still went onto stage to collect his award for Best Actor mere moments later. Howard Stern was upset that no one seemed to care and even cheered for him once he won the award. Quote, "Will Smith harmed another human being, and you guys did nothing." Another celebrity who will definitely never work with Will Smith is Judd Apatow. Probably the most embarrassing set of tweets to come out of the whole Oscars slap situation were Judd Apatow's, which are since deleted. Although he was one of the first people to call out Will Smith for his behavior, some think that he took it way too far. Judd wrote on Twitter, quote, "He could have killed him. That's pure out of control rage and aggression." After he received pushback for the tweet, the 40-year-old Virgin director elaborated his viewpoints on the SiriusXM pop culture spotlight. He admitted that he wasn't actually watching the Oscars when he took to Twitter, but was instead informed of the incident while on the phone with a friend. That being said, he did stick by his statements about Will Smith in other interviews. Quote, "As soon as that line is crossed, really anything can happen. That's what happened, but something else could have happened too." Judd also told Pop Culture Spotlight, quote, "I just think there certainly is a way of handling dissatisfaction. We should never tell people that the solution is to break that barrier and leap on the stage and commit an act of harm in front of people who are inspired by you." Coming in at number 7, Rosie O'Donnell. Not unlike Howard Stern's take, Rosie O'Donnell also had a problem with how the Academy Award organizers handled the situation. Clearly, Rosie was signing off to Team Chris Rock when she tweeted out, quote, "So upsetting on every level. Bravo to Chris Rock for not eviscerating Will Smith, which he could do any day of the week. He walked away. Bravo from a sad display of toxic masculinity from a narcissistic madman. If only they would take it into the ring, then we could truly see who is eviscerating who." In addition to making it clear that she believed Chris Rock could demolish Smith in, I guess, a battle of comedic minds, Rosie also heavily criticized the Academy for their initial response to the entire situation. In a separate tweet written in response to a statement released by the organization about not condoning violence, she asked, quote, "Then why did you do nothing?" O'Donnell didn't stop there. She also spent quite a bit of time retweeting messages from her friends and other Twitter users that all condemn Will Smith's actions and praise Chris Rock for not acting in retaliation. Kathy Griffin is up next as someone who likely won't work with Will Smith based on how she reacted to the Oscars, having very clearly sided with Chris Rock in this situation. She tweeted out, quote, "Let me tell you something. It's a very bad practice to walk up on stage and physically harm a comedian. Now we all have to worry about who wants to be the next Will Smith in comedy clubs and theaters." It is perhaps extremely unsurprising that Griffin, who herself loves to push the boundaries of comedy, would side with Chris Rock in this situation and be more concerned about the safety of comedians after seeing Chris Rock get slapped over a joke. Given her own controversies of inciting violence against former President Donald Trump that landed her in trouble with the Secret Service, we weren't surprised to see that she got some pushback from her tweets about being kind to one another. Next up is comedian Jim Carrey. It's unlikely any comedian in general will side with Will Smith considering the precedents it sets. But while touring for Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Jim Carrey was asked about his reaction to Will Smith getting on stage and hitting Chris. The comedian had this to say, quote, "I was sickened. I was sickened by the standing ovation. I felt like Hollywood is just spineless en masse. And it really felt like this is a real clear indication that we're not the cool club anymore. I'd have announced this morning that I was suing Will for $200 million because that video is going to be there forever. It's going to be ubiquitous. That insult is going to last a very long time. If you want to yell from the audience or disapprove or show disapproval or say something on Twitter or whatever, you do not have the right to walk up on stage and smack somebody in the face because they said words." Next up is Luke Skywalker himself, Mark Hamill. He has always been extremely outspoken on Twitter, and the Oscar slap incident was no exception. The night of the incident, he tweeted, quote, "Stand-up comics are very adept at handling hecklers. Physical harm, not so much." Okay, I abbreviated this because I'm not allowed to say a lot of words due to our feudal lords at YouTube, but you get the idea. The tweet left a heated debate in the comments, with one user writing, quote, "Chris Rock was wrong. Mocking Jada's medical condition, especially on stage in front of hundreds of people, is despicable. I don't blame Will for getting upset or for doing what he did." While another user wrote, quote, "You can't just harm people. Even if someone says something Part of being an adult is understanding that you can't just hit people. I like Will Smith and I have compassion for his wife, but he was wrong to hit Chris Rock." Coming in at number 3 is Janet Hubert. Janet Hubert has had beef with Will Smith that predates the Oscars, thank God, all the way back to the 90s when she worked alongside him in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. She played Aunt Viv for 3 seasons before their beef led to her being replaced in 1993. She told HuffPost decades later, quote, "My departure was planned for a long time. There will never be a reunion for The Fresh Prince. Will Will Smith and Alfonso destroyed a 20-year career with untruths. I got slammed. Will apologized later in an Essence magazine article, but it still lingers. It's still there. Apparently, the beef started when Smith refused to vouch for Hubert when she wanted a pay raise and a contract renegotiation. Meanwhile, tons of rumors circulated that she was notoriously extremely difficult to work with, which derailed her career and she never really recovered from it. That being said, they did have a tentative truce when Will invited her onto the Fresh Prince reunion that she earlier said would never happen. Although I doubt she'd go through filming anything with him again. Next up is Chris Rock's brother, Tony Rock. Absolutely no surprise that he comes to his siblings' defense. Airing his frustrations on a stand-up set a few days after the Oscar slap incident, Tony stated, quote, "If you think you're gonna walk up on this stage, this ain't the Oscars. And if you walk your ass up here, you ain't nominated for with these hands." As the crowd cheered, Tony took it a step further, adding, quote, "I didn't want to start the show like that. You're gonna hit my brother." Tony also made it clear on Twitter after Will Smith apologized to Chris that he does not accept the apology on his brother's behalf by stating, quote, "No," when asked if he forgave him. Last but certainly not least is Chris Rock, who was the recipient of the slap in question. Interestingly, he said absolutely nothing about the slap and has kept extremely quiet. He's currently on tour and has made zero mention of the incident, although I'm sure he could have gotten away with a few digs considering that most people took his side. But that being said, I doubt he'd be running to star alongside Will Smith in any comedy anytime soon.